The Andes. Ecuador. Altitude 3,000 meters. The mornings are fresh, the afternoons wet. This is Hacienda Yurac Alto. Alvaro and his British wife Hannah are transforming this old Jesuit missionary property into a horse breeding and horse boarding farm. Despite its rural setting, the farm has a surprisingly international crew. 6 months ago, volunteers from all over the globe started arriving to work here for a while.
I can concentrate so long.
They seem to be a random collection of individuals with diverse characters and backgrounds. Yet, they've all chosen to exchange home for this farm. Why are they here? What made them leave their familiar surroundings, loved ones, and jobs to go do back-breaking volunteer work in the fields? Building fences, clearing trails, and running after horses, while gasping for breath, sweating buckets, and blistering hands.
I feel it's really shallow when you don't know what's happening like other side of the world. To find a new way of life.
Stukken van jezelf vinden die je misschien kwijtraakt als je iedere dag hetzelfde doet.
I've been just trying to escape a reflection, and now I'm kind of just throwing myself out there in hopes of forced, like circumstantial reflection.
There have been challenges that have made me just want to crawl under a stone and die. And
all the life it's Big Roulette.
I guess change would be the key word. Find a new way of life, a new thing to do, and maybe a job, maybe a lifestyle, maybe a country of residence. I am here also to dramatically change my ways and to switch from an office job, sitting on your butt, looking at your email kind of job, for something really tangible, for something real. And I'm also here to fight my fears and insecurities that I used to have. I was working in Moscow for quite a few years, making my way up the ladder, getting one job after another. At some point I just realized that I was going completely crazy with what was going on and what I was doing. So I decided I need to step off the merry-go-round for a while and take a look from the outside, which is a difficult thing to do while you're like in Moscow, still doing the things you're doing, being in the job and among the people who are still there. I was in quite of a depression. I was quite messed up, and I was starting to have like health problems. I had this question, can I drag myself out of this situation? Can I do that myself? I wish I could say I could have done that at home. I really wish. But I do think that requires like a Buddha-like consciousness. Technically, a person, not me for sure, a person could be there in the office, in the crappy apartment on the outskirts of Moscow, and still work on being happy. Yes, this is technically possible, but not for me. And for me it required a pretty beautiful place and a pretty good trip because it just helps. The thing I was missing while working as a manager in digital advertising was the meaning of what we were doing. Like, if you start looking for the ultimate meaning of whatever work you produce, there is none at the bottom of it, unfortunately, and it's hard to ignore that. It kind of seemed to me that if I just earn enough, that money could make me happy. And at the point where I had the money, I realized, well, this does not work like that. So I need something sane, useful, good, and meaningful to do. And I think having this, I can avoid being overstressed and depressed. I always used to just take up whatever was right in front of me, grab it and run with it forward, and I never asked myself whether it was the best thing to do and the thing I really wanted to do. I want to make it far more conscious, and that's the question: to find this thing and not to work just for the sake of money and just to keep doing the same thing, but to consciously select something I love, something I could be passionate about. Like, whenever I meet people who are doctors and teachers and who haven't compromised their dream for something that they just met along the way, I feel sincerely jealous, and I feel like I have compromised something and I want to catch up on that. I discovered that an environment in a group where all people volunteer, they work because they have chosen to do so, it is so different from an environment where people get paid for what they do and they're there because the next payday is in 2 weeks. And this is why I'm here. I totally want to be among people who choose to be volunteers. I'm doing things that I never allowed myself to do before because I had no, I have work to do, and this is such a good excuse for not doing interesting stuff. Sometimes the work is not what I ideally want to do, but it is a good exercise from the point of view of motivating myself and working with my own motivation. It is a scientific fact that doing manual labor stimulates your creative thinking and stimulates your analytical thinking. So this is what I'm trying to benefit from. I was putting a lot of hope in this trip in terms of figuring out what has to come next. And so far it looks that this thing is working. Because my mind is much more cleared up. There are a couple of good things that I thought of while being here. Ideally, I would be looking for a school, probably a language school, because I can make myself useful teaching 2 to 3 languages depending on wherever they find useful. And I try to dive into it, because as much as I think I like teaching, I am also very much afraid of it. I don't have the answer to my question yet, but I feel like I'm getting closer. I feel like if I just find the proper answers to your questions, I might answer the biggest questions of my life if I'm successful enough. I put quite a lot of plans ahead of me to postpone the moment of a big permanent decision. I have to admit that, because I'm freaking scared. I am very scared to make big decisions, and but I do feel that that I'm not as scared as I used to be, because a certain time away from the old life helps to kind of let go of these things.
Oh, take a chance and roll the bones. Cut off your hair, unplug your phone. And sell your belongings, all your clever drawings. Yeah, try to make it all.
Ik zat al de hele tijd na te denken over weggaan, over langere tijd gaan reizen. Ik denk dat de belangrijkste reden dat ik hier ben is om een bepaalde rust en een bepaald genieten in mezelf te vinden. Ja. Ik wou graag weggaan van huis, omdat ik merkte dat ik thuis wat slecht in mijn vel zat. Niet veel aan het genieten was van gewoon het dagelijks leven. En me heel veel zorgen maakte. En toen dacht ik, volgens mij is het goed als ik er een tijd uitstap. Als ik een tijd niet met deze dingen bezig ben. Het is niet dat dat leven stom is, maar volgens mij heb ik er last van dat ik bepaalde dingen opbouw. Ik denk met name op werk dat ik bepaalde spanning opbouw die mij in de weg gaat zitten. En die ik niet makkelijk kwijt kan als ik in dezelfde situatie blijf. Misschien als ik in een heel andere context ben, dat ik andere dingen kan bedenken om te voorkomen dat ik me op een gegeven moment ongelukkig of gespannen ga voelen in wat mijn gewone leven is. Als je op een plek bent waar je normaal niet bent, is alles spannend, is alles een avontuur. Ben je in ieder geval uit de sleur weg en kun je iemand anders zijn of kun je misschien niet iemand anders zijn, maar juist jezelf zijn. Kun je stukken van jezelf vinden die je misschien kwijtraakt als je iedere dag hetzelfde doet. Ja. Het is een manier van reizen die me aanstaat. Dat je niet consumerend reist, maar juist op een andere manier reist. Dat je ergens naartoe gaat en misschien iets toevoegt, maar in ieder geval een goede ruil hebt. Ik denk niet dat iedere andere omgeving mij kan brengen wat ik zoek, maar ik denk dat deze omgeving mij kan brengen wat ik zoek. Omdat ik hier op een rustige manier kan werken. Op een andere manier kan werken. Dat ik hier in plaats van me zorgen maken over wat er allemaal mis kan gaan, wat ik thuis heel veel doe, veel meer bezig kan zijn met dat wat ik aan het doen ben en hoe leuk het is om dat hier nu te doen. Bij mijn gewone werk zit ik de hele dag achter mijn bureau. En dat voel je op een gegeven moment. Op een gegeven moment merk je dat je rug zwakker wordt, dat je spieren atrofiëren waar je bij zit. Dat alles bij elkaar voelt heel ongezond. Voelt als sneller ouder worden dan nodig is. Hier op 3 kilometer hoogte heb ik heel erg gevoeld hoe het is om weer aan lichamelijk werk te gaan. En dat heeft wel echt gebracht wat ik hoopte. Een ander soort moeheid, waardoor ik weer beter slaap dan dat ik de laatste jaren in Nederland heb geslapen. Hier op de Hacienda Yurac, het hard werken, geen verantwoordelijkheid, maar vooral veel buiten zijn, lichamelijk bezig zijn, heeft mij heel veel ontspanning gebracht en heel veel plezier in het werk ook. Het heeft thuis ver weggezet, nieuwe ervaringen gebracht en daarmee, grappig genoeg, juist een bekend stuk van mezelf teruggebracht. voel me een stuk beter, ja. Een stuk fitter en een stuk uitgeruster. Wat raar is, want ik moet hier een stuk harder werken, maar ja, het voelt wel zo. En dat is wel, had ik goed bedacht. Klopt precies. De drive om weg te gaan is denk ik bij mij gekomen toen ik naar Amerika ben gegaan, toen ik 15 was. En dat is een hele positieve ervaring geweest. En ik denk dat daardoor heel diep in mijn persoonlijkheid zit, dat af en toe van de omgeving veranderen hele mooie dingen brengt. Het idee is dat we een half jaar in Zuid-Amerika blijven, waarvan nu de eerste 6 weken voorbij zijn. Ik denk dat als ik nu rechtstreeks terug ga naar het werk wat ik thuis deed en op die manier doorga, dat ik dit heel snel kwijt ben, helaas. Ja, en ik hoop dat ik nog ga leren wat het is waar ik hier zoveel aan heb en wat ik thuis mis. Maar dat heb ik nog niet gevonden.
It wasn't so much that something was pushing me away from Finland, but it was more that it was pulling me somewhere else. I feel it's really shallow when you don't know what's happening like other side of the world. You really don't actually know anything about like outside the Europe. You are just living in your small box there. Finland is really, it's just a really small percent of people who can live like that in the world. So coming to South America, it's like there is millions of people who live like really differently, and I think that's the point. I want to see something else so I can understand better. Traveling, it's really opening eyes. They say it's cliché, but it's so true. When you're 18 and you really don't know about life, you just know the things that they have taught you, but I think they really select the things that they taught you at school. They are not telling you everything, and somehow I feel that people, they want you to get stuck in your welfare country and pay the taxes there and not go otherwise, like anywhere else. When you live just in your homeland, you just think that the only chance that you have is doing as the others are doing. Just join the university and get family and get a career and live there like happily ever after. But here I feel like the life could be somewhere else. It doesn't have to be in Finland, it doesn't have to be in Europe, and it's possible to survive somewhere else too and do different things. I finished my high school in October, and universities, they start in September, so it's 11 months. So I had to kill my time anyway, somehow. So I had kind of a year off, but like anyway, I don't want to study, because I've been studying like 10 years now. I want to do something real. You don't have to sit inside and do something so abstract all the time. Studying like chemistry and mathematics, it doesn't make any sense if you are not using it anywhere. And doing something totally different, it's kind of refreshing. It's a good pause. A lot of people I've met here, they are kind of looking for something, looking for some ideas maybe what they want to do with their lives. It's maybe not so straightforward and maybe people don't think about it like that, but I think that's the reason really, because people don't really like leave just home just to go away from home, or maybe if there is something pushing them away, they don't like to be there, but just wandering around in the world, it shows that they are looking for something. I don't know, the ideas what I'm looking for, I think that's the point. I don't know what I'm after, and I think that, yeah, exactly, wandering around and maybe not knowing what to do, it helps to decide what you want to do and what you don't want to do. I didn't have much money, so I knew that I couldn't just travel. So I was googling like volunteering, and first I was googling like Asia and stuff, but then I decided to go South America, and this place was just like first place which came out of Google. I didn't know anything about Ecuador, but it didn't really bother me. I just knew that they speak Spanish and they grow up a lot of bananas, and that was it. Actually, the work with horses, I didn't really expect anything. I kind of thought that I've seen it like in 10 years. I've seen it all, but I was kind of wrong. And I've learned so much now. But I don't know, yeah, something about horses and something about life in general. Most things are really small things, like I don't like avocados or stuff like that. But there is also things like in general that I've learned that I don't have to be scared of things so much, and I can do things that I want to do. Even if it's a bit unknown and I don't know what I'm doing, I can still do it. It's possible if you just know which direction you're taking, then you can just follow your path, and even if you don't know where it's leading, you can just do it. And I think that's the most important thing. Now I'm not so afraid to do things that I want to do. I had to tell my mom last summer because I needed her credit card to pay my flight tickets. And I told my father like last week before I left, and or actually I didn't, my mother told him, and we didn't talk about it. I think he wasn't really happy, but he will understand maybe later. That has been good for me to go anyway, even it has been a bit like uphill, downhill. But it's good for me and I'm happy that I do it, so I think he understands better and maybe can appreciate that I can make my own decisions anyway. He has never been in America, but he anyway hates all this. He thinks it's too dangerous and they will kill you and rob you and steal and whatever. Truth here, I think there is poor people, it's true, and that's what they are telling us in Europe too. People are poor and they are stealing and using drugs. It might be possible, but it's not the all. There's also rich people, and not all people are stealing and using drugs. It's like I knew that world can't be so black and white when I came. I don't want it to be like my father says, that people here are bad and people in Europe they are good. But some things you have to see by yourself so you can really believe it. And now I think I have much more good stories to tell about South America than bad stories.
Well, I fell in love. That was a big one, and it just seemed like everything I wanted was being handed to me on a plate. I'm here because, well, number one, I got married, so that's why I'm living here now, but I left England originally in search of adventure and something else to do, something more fulfilling. I had just reached a stage in my life where I was a little bit dissatisfied and went on a riding holiday at the end of 2009 and had such a good time and didn't want to go home, and thought that maybe this was something that I could do. So I left and I travelled a little bit and I worked and ended up here. So it wasn't my intention to stay in Ecuador, and I'd planned to keep going and work somewhere else, but I ended up finding just about everything I could want right here, and I've been here for 3 years. All my friends were getting married and having children or doing the career thing, and neither of those things really interested me. And I just didn't seem to fit into that world very well. So I just thought, what the hell? What have I got to lose? I'll go and try something different. The position that I got offered was here in Ecuador, taking trail rides out again. So I came here and did that for 3 months, and I met my husband Alvaro through the owner of the company, and the rest is history, as they say. It wasn't that I was unhappy, it was that I wanted more and didn't think I could find it in England. I just never quite felt like I was really excited by anything in my life. My job really wasn't doing what I thought it would do for me. When I went into being an ecologist as my profession, I was really excited by it. I loved all the things I was learning and the work I was doing, and it became dissatisfactory over the years. I guess as I moved higher up in the profession, I spent more time behind a desk and less time doing the fun stuff. I actually ended things with my boyfriend in order to leave, and I just that was really difficult. I wasn't sure that was the right thing. Because we were like a couple of old slippers, really happy together and stuff. So in that way of my life, I was contented, but I wasn't really excited. I had kind of a vague plan in my mind when I left, that I would like to find somewhere with a guy, set up a hosteria or a bed and breakfast place and do trail rides. I expected excitement and fulfillment, and I think I have those things, but I also have a lot more work, I think, than I expected. Not that I wouldn't have wanted to do the work, because I'm a bit of a workaholic, but I think it's been more of a challenge than I expected it to be, and probably been more difficult than I expected it to be as well, just because of the Ecuadorianness of things here and how difficult it is to develop anything and to make changes. So it's been good and bad. I mean, there have been challenges that have made me just want to crawl under a stone and die, and others that just feel great. Sitting and looking at this house that I've completed. I would never have been able to have a place like this in England. I expected to be working a lot more with horses, and because that's what he said he would like me to do, but it turned out that he wasn't really in a position to be working his horses. He didn't have any arenas built or anything like that, so I started realising that it looked very nice on the surface. Everything looked great, rich family, huge property, tons of potential and easy life, I guess my expectations were that I would find a niche in that and that would develop, but it turned out that I ended up changing quite a lot. I realised that the dairy cattle weren't earning any money, so I suggested that side of the business be sold to focus on the horses. It took a lot of convincing, but we got there in the end, and from the money from selling the cattle, he bought a new stallion, the stallion we have now, and he paid for the arenas to be built. That was a huge job, but now he has the facilities to be able to work his horses. I decided if I'm going to improve my quality of living here and truly enjoy being here, I'm going to have a proper house to live in. So I spent a year. I invested pretty much all my money here and invested it in doing up this house that we're now living in. And then started up my horse boarding business just a few months ago. Started bringing in volunteers to help with the work on the farm a few months ago as well. When I first came here, I was probably a little bit overawed by the scale of things here and, you know, the opportunities that I would have here. Like everybody, when they first come here, it's a beautiful place, it's incredible, it's, you know, it all looks very rosy on the outside, but underneath it's a lot of hard work. Doing business isn't easy here. I can be pretty direct, and I think I maybe have rubbed a few people up the wrong way here because I don't have the patience to say what I don't mean, and things like the Ecuadorian way is very much to be very excited and emotional about everything. I find it very difficult to adapt to that, and I still make the mistake of believing people and taking people on face value. I'm learning. It's very tough to be in a different country and to be surrounded by strangers and people who are culturally different to you. I think sometimes, you know, God, have I taken on too much? And because I don't have much of a support network here, I don't have any friends here. I would love to be able to make this wonderful building into a luxury hotel or lodge. I think it's perfect for that, and it's wasted as it is just sitting here empty. But it's not our building, it belongs to Alvaro's parents. I would love to have my horseboarding business set up, running smoothly, seeing the farm properly sorted out with infrastructure, fencing, trails, all the things that it is now lacking. It's all happening, and I do get a great deal of fulfillment from that. The only area which is lacking a bit at the moment is my relationship with my husband, which needs a bit more work. Alvaro is very Ecuadorian. There's a bit of a conflict there between how I see the way things should be done and how he does. He describes it as my torrential pace of change and his turtle pace of change. I think with all the stress we've had over the last couple of years, it's not been an easy start to our marriage, so I'd really like that to settle down a bit as well. And to be able to have enough income to be able to visit home more often. I haven't been back for over a year now, and I do miss my family and my friends. And to be able to go on holiday every now and again as well would be nice. Even though I've got all the adventure and things in, this is a place where other people come on holiday. It would be nice for me to be able to go and just take a couple of weeks and do something different and not be managing everything for a change. So.
Затем, чтобы найти в жизни свой конкретный путь. Ну, проще всегда смотреть на себя и на свои действия из другого места, ну и для того, чтобы еще развеяться, так сказать, прочистить голову. Я сам уволился с работы. Расстроен я тем, что моя работа просто не приносит мне удовольствия. То есть деньги приносит, а удовольствия нет. Я хотел бы в жизни найти такое направление, которое не только было задействовано в поиске средств для существования, а все-таки и в удовольствие к жизни. Но каждый человек в жизни должен заниматься тем, что ему подходит и что как бы в жизни создано для него. Я четко верю, что для каждого человека есть свой определенный путь жизненный. И Для меня, мне кажется, тоже есть определенный путь, но тот путь, который я выбрал изначально, я считаю не особо правильным. Это в плане инженерии. На меня повлияло многое в моем детстве на то, что я выбрал профессию инженера, а не музыканта, хотя мои родители музыканты. Точно так же и с лошадьми, то есть долгое время я очень работал только за то, чтобы ездить на лошадях, то есть я работал бесплатно. А для того, чтобы научиться, для того, чтобы это просто любовь моей жизни, лошади. Вот примерно так. Для того, чтобы определиться в направлении жизненном дальнейшем, необходимо было уехать и посмотреть просто на то, как живут другие люди. Это на самом деле немножко эгоистично, но приятно, когда ты бываешь в тех местах, где не было ни один знакомый тебе человек. Вот. Ну, изначально сложилось так, что я очень много в детстве путешествовал и всегда знал, что моя голова прочищается только тогда, когда я уезжаю от родного места, от родных людей, от друзей. Только так можно понять, что нужно в жизни. Во всяком случае для меня. Друзья и родные, и близкие, и братья, и сестры, как правило, каждый имеет свое мнение, и каждый пытается его навязать. А когда далеко находишься от людей, от друзей, и думаешь только своей головой, только тогда можно истинно осознать цель жизненную, цель свою в жизни. Но я принял решение основное слушать только себя, прежде всего, потому что очень много людей не видят каких-то моментов жизненных, которые ты можешь сделать. Они видят это совершенно в другом ракурсе. И они видят только, многие люди видят только зарабатывание денег в жизни главной вещью. Кто-то еще какие-то другие вещи. Be careful. Также кажется, что что-то вроде невозможно сделать, когда ты находишься в России, работаешь на какой-то работе, которая тебе не приносит удовольствия. А когда едешь в другую страну и видишь, как другие люди живут, становится настолько все понятно и просто, что можно вернуться и сделать буквально одним размахом хороший бизнес или что-то типа в этом роде. Ну, по факту очень много всему научился. Во-первых, я довольно-таки ленивый человек в плане работы. Вот. Но, например, для меня работа руками и, так сказать, работа в полях намного душевнее, чем работа в офисе за компьютером. Я понял, что лошади — это, наверное, единственная вещь, которой действительно я буду заниматься с удовольствием, какой бы она ни была тяжелой работой. А сейчас у меня в планах вернуться и построить свой какой-то бизнес, связанный с лошадьми. И заниматься лошадьми именно в том направлении, в котором я хочу и вижу это направление, а не в котором видит это другой человек. У меня есть уже распланированный порядок действий, который я собираюсь сделать. Прежде всего, я буду искать место, где хочу заниматься разведением лошадей. Второй момент – это буду продавать свою квартиру для того, чтобы купить, либо арендовать, либо купить в этом месте помещение плюс земли. Но сложно сказать, потому что здесь ты чувствуешь себя совершенно по-другому, видишь какие-то вещи совершенно по-другому, находясь в другой стране. А когда возвращаешься, может так получиться, что опять все станет на круги своя и потечет той же жизнью. Но, конечно, хочется, чтобы я вернулся и начал жить по-другому. Главное рулетку раскрутить, а дальше она уже сама покатится. All the life is Big Roulette.
Yeah, so it goes, yeah, so it goes. Them city boys in country clothes, or take a chance and roll the balls. Go crash your car, burn down your home, and drive to forget all the means.
I'm here to discover why I came here. 2 summers ago, I went traveling in France by myself, and I was a sophomore in college at the time, and it was a very confusing kind of existential period in my life. And now that I've graduated college, the only way I know how to figure out what it is I want to do in life is to throw myself out of context and to dissolve every concept of self I've ever made up for myself, because I feel throughout life we all tell stories about ourselves, and there's different narratives and there's different plots and there's different directions and decisions we make that change the story and the direction it's going. And I wanted to leave the story that I made up for myself from the last 4 years to create a new one, and to rebuild and to recenter and to redirect and find out truly what it is that makes you feel, or like makes me feel fulfilled. Since I was 13, I thought I want to do horses for the rest of my life. I want to have a horse business, so I'll go to college, study business, and then when I graduate, I'll, do that whole idea. And I stuck true to that goal for a long time, since I rode since I was 5, and then I worked my ass off until I went to college. But by way of my experience during that time off, I learned that wasn't necessarily what I wanted. When I left for France, I kind of told myself before I went, I was having a revolution of self. It was my attempt to cut all the negative aspects of my life that I could control out and leave them behind. And that's what happened, and I let a lot of things go. I let the horses, and I kind of turned the more philosophic way of looking at the world, and the creative aspect of myself kind of came out through my writing and my painting. And then that's where I hit that fork in the road, and I left that behind and went in that direction. This spectrum of age, like early 20s, early 30s right now, we're caught up in a really weird situation in terms of, like, at least in America right now, it's just really difficult to survive and stay true to yourself at the same time, financially survive and stay true to yourself at the same time, because of the whole economic situation and the job market. I was really lucky my parents supported me throughout college. There's so many kids in debt right now. It wouldn't matter if they worked the rest of their lives, they still couldn't pay it off, and that's a really difficult challenge to face, to walk out into this real world, and to, like, how are you supposed to do this? Like, and you're supposed to go to college to get a degree, to go get a job, to make money, blah blah blah, But sometimes I think, that for me at least, and I know for a few people, my friends that I know, that that's not necessarily their goal in life. And it's about, we're all kind of taking the machete into the brush and trying to make a new trail and a new way of living that is sustainable and fulfilling. And it's exciting and scary, and it's really difficult, and it's hard, and you just want to run away from it, but you guys gotta run into it and you'll get cut. The shock of leaving your home culture is something that will slap you in the face and make you look at your life and others. And I've been just trying to escape a reflection, and now I'm kind of just throwing myself out there in hopes of forced, like, circumstantial reflection. The whole academic, intellectual, and social aspect of college, I was very strung out. There was a lot of drinking, a lot of concerts, a lot of partying, and I started smoking, I was drinking too much. It's something I need to heal from, and there's no better way of healing for me than to, like, sit myself out in the middle of a field. This farm, there's just so much beauty and natural truth around you. You gotta just immerse yourself in it, because it's easy to, when you leave and go into a city, it's just like a hall of projections, like a hall of mirrors. I feel it's easy to get lost into these, like, ideas and concepts of what you should be doing versus what's true and what's right. By way of being here, I've experienced a very grounding reality in terms of just getting retuned with my physical health and my physical well-being, and how letting go of the overactive intellectual stimulation of the world I came from. So it's just like a kind of a returning. I've learned to trust that I can always fall back on the horses as a way of healing. This journey here, what led me down to South America, it's gonna continue when I go back to the United States. It's the same journey. I'm here to find the words. I'm here to find the words that took me. But I'm here to find the words to describe the instinct, the intuition that got me on the airplane and on this farm. And they're slowly coming, but once I have them, you'll be the first one to know.
Different or not, these 6 are all searching for something, trying to change their lives. Wanderlust, born out of dissatisfaction, stress, boredom or rebellion, leads them to new homes and horizons.
Life tasted sweet when I was the bad.
Although even to themselves it's not all that clear what it is they're looking for, and although it's all but certain that their experiences will bring about the permanent change they've been hoping for, they seem content. Less fear, stress and procrastination, and more confidence, self-knowledge and inspiration. Unlike many others, they acted upon their dissatisfaction and unfulfilled wishes by giving their lives a twist and forcing reflection. By spinning the roulette wheel of life once more, they try to take control of their lives. And isn't that what everybody wants in a way? Be in control? Feel like you live your life the way you want to?
A place is not an answer to anything. an answer is what kind of person I am and what kind of people I am with.
Ik heb graag een thuis en ik heb graag en ik ben ook graag in Nederland. Dus ik ben niet bang dat ik altijd wil blijven reizen. Ik denk wel dat ik altijd om de zoveel tijd echt wel weer eventjes ergens anders naartoe moet. Ja.
Yeah, so it goes. Yeah, so it goes. That sweet heirloom, there may be stones.
My life was so small in Finland. You can get experiences, but they are more like studies and whatever. It's not so experiences about life.
Sell your belongings, all your clever drawings. Yeah, try to make a dollar from the grain. Sell your belongings, all your clever drawings. Try to make a dollar from the grain.
Главное, как бы, есть большие, главное начать их делать. Это самое важное.
Yeah, so it goes. Yeah, so it goes. Them city boys in country clothes.
I don't think I'll become more Ecuadorian now. I think I'm too strong a character already, and I think I'm too set in my ways to really change in that way. I don't think I could.
Crash your car, burn down your home. And try to forget all the enemies and that's how always chase you around the new sour cream. Try to forget all the enemies and that's how
I feel like I've been babbling on about some like crazy nonsense. Like holy shit.
So I tried a new direction, a new mindset, a new state. But running's what it is. It's hard when you're a kid to find your place. I know a gang of clever fellows. Ooh.